quiet start out there, at least for the Arklamass region. Not seeing anything on the storm tracker Doppler radar. However, we are starting to see some of the rain associated with that system way off to the northwest. And our current temperatures right now starting to see some slightly cooler air moving in behind a weak front that moved through the area this afternoon, sitting in the upper 40s to low 50s across South Arkansas. El Dorado's now at 48 degrees. Camden's at 50. Across I-20 and south, though, still on the warmer side, sitting in the upper 50s to low 60s, where we're at 62 still in Monroe. However, due to that other cold front that moves through Sunday heading into Monday, we do have to look at the chance for those overnight lows being near or below the freezing mark. This looks to be Monday morning. You can see 30s and upper 20s, and then very similarly heading into your Tuesdays. Obviously, you can't tell. We have moved inside this morning because it is very chilly. If you couldn't tell outside, a lot of us are also dealing with the rain, so that's not making it feel any better. The wind chill as well is making it feel like probably in the 30s in most spots. So as we take a look at the storm tracker Doppler radar right now, you can see that the rainfall is continuing to move off to the east. A lot of the heaviest of rain has moved out of the area for the most part, which is some good news for right now. But it'll be until we head into the back half of this week that we'll start to see the rain chances increase across the region. That's all associated to an incoming cold front. As you can see, maybe some isolated rain chances heading into Wednesday. But then as we head into Thursday and Friday, this front is going to continue to move off to the east and continue to impact us heading into maybe Thursday night. It's looking a little bit later, maybe heading into Friday as well. Dew points very close to our actual air temperature. We do have a frost advisory in effect for about the northwestern half of the Arklamass region until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, just because we are expecting things to stay calm and clear overnight. So if you do have any of those plants outside, you may want to cover them or bring them inside. We are expecting those clear skies tonight as we see our next super moon, which is the Beaver moon. It's going to be the closest one of the year. So if you want to check it out tonight, it'll be a very nice night to do so. You just might want to grab that jacket, as those lows are going to be in the low to mid 40s. And just to kind of put it into perspective, these are all of the winter warnings associated with this storm, spanning from New Mexico all the way up to New England. So a lot of us are going to be dealing with that, and that includes us here in the Arklamass. So going to stay partly cloudy overnight and as you wake up tomorrow morning as well. And then we'll watch the cold front begin to make its way into the region from the west, increasing our rain chances heading into the late afternoon, evening hours. And then that continues off to the east and away from us, heading into the rest of the evening and possibly heading into just after sunset as well. But behind that, expecting the much cooler weather to enter the region, especially for those high temperatures on Wednesday, and then our overnight lows possibly getting into the 30s in our northernmost area. We do have to talk about Hurricane Melissa. It is still a very strong Category 4 storm. As you can see, it has this pinhole eye right here, which means that it is still strengthening, and it is actually taking a little bit of a wobble, so it has some more time, unfortunately, to stay over water. And as of right now, it is continued to forecast to be a Category 5 hurricane at landfall. So here's the cold weather alert. This begins Sunday afternoon for single-digit temperatures and very cold wind chills. So any sort of ice that does accumulate, it is not going to melt until middle of next week. Overall, we aren't anticipating much more to occur as we head into the overnight hours. There is a chance for some spotty showers throughout the overnight and as we head into tomorrow afternoon, but definitely some good news, especially for those spots that got a lot of rain on top of a lot of rain this afternoon, especially across southwestern Arkansas, between 5 to 7 inches of rain in some spots, even across I-20, 1 to 2 inches of rain. But if you are hoping for any sort of measurable amounts of rain, not likely to see that, at least in the Arklamass. You can see about a trace of rain if you do see a spotty shower, and this will be overnight, maybe a few lingering into the rest of your Friday. So it's not going to be enough to combat any of the drought-like conditions. So even though our winds are coming out of the south in the lower levels of the atmosphere, and the upper atmosphere still out of the north, and so that is going to keep things dry. You can see all this drier air in the upper levels, which that means if we don't have any moisture up in the air, how is it going to rain? We got some storms across the Arklamass region, including one that is entering Union Parish. It's not severe, but it does have some stronger winds as well as some frequent lightning. So if you are heading out on the road, especially in Farmerville and in areas around that, just be sure that you are taking extra precaution. A quick look at the tropics. This wave off the coast of Africa is continuing to move on its west and northwest track into the Atlantic. It does have a very high chance of becoming our next named storm, Gabrielle, over the next week. Most of the models kind of suggest that it should be moving away from us and staying over open water, which would be very good news as we head into this peak of hurricane season as well. And as we continue to time that out, once again, we'll continue to see the freezing rain become a little bit more widespread heading into the rest of the overnight and early on your Saturday morning. And then we'll see our first round really move in heading into the morning to early afternoon on your Saturday. Again, a lot of us in our southern parishes may only see a cold rain during that first round before we clear out, and then we see our second round move in. And if you didn't get any the first time, this is when you are likely going to get the freezing rain. Also the possibility of sleet, mainly in our northernmost areas in southern Arkansas. So that as we head into your Friday, this is the main event. You can see still have that slight risk for the majority of the region for any of these storms that form. We are looking at all the hazards associated with severe weather, damaging wind gusts, large hail, and unfortunately a few tornadoes are also a possibility. So just make sure that we are staying weather aware. This actually just got updated, so now we're looking at the potential for extreme winter storm impacts, which unfortunately does mean the potential for dangerous road conditions as well as the potential for power outages due to ice accumulation. Sticking with us live here at the Food Bank of Northeast Louisiana, you just heard about some of the stuff that they're doing here. Definitely some very fantastic work. So if you're able to donate or volunteer some of your time to come out here, I know they would greatly appreciate it. But winds in the upper levels are going west to east, and that's called zonal flow. So that means, you know, everything is calm, not really much is happening at the moment, and that is kind of signified by that surface high pressure there. But then you see as that cold front moves through that we have this trough, which is an area of low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That kind of brings a little bit more of the active weather per se. And according to the discussion, they were mainly concerned about the damaging wind threat. However, there was a very isolated tornado threat as well. And as you can see in the storm reports, we had a lot of those down trees, down power lines across the region, but we did have one tornado warning, and that was for Madison Parish, and it was radar confirmed, which means that we saw something on the radar, and that was the indication of some flying debris that had confirmed that a tornado was more than likely on the ground. Good afternoon, everyone. This is meteorologist Elizabeth Temple. It is just after 2:30 on Saturday, January 24th, 2026. A lot of the freezing rain is continuing to lighten up. It is still raining though here in West Monroe, but a lot of spots in southern Arkansas are seeing a little bit of a clearing for right now. We'll continue to see this first round of activity make its way off to the east and kind of partially clear up a lot of us through the rest of this afternoon before things again ramp back up with our second wave heading into this evening, overnight, and then clearing out by tomorrow afternoon.